The video begins by explaining that completely cutting off communication with others is not necessarily a cold or heartless behavior. In many cases, it is a psychological and emotional response formed after years of unbalanced, draining, or one-sided relationships. Rather than hatred or difference, this behavior is often a form of self-protection and emotional survival. The video emphasizes that people who distance themselves are often those who have tried for a long time, communicated repeatedly, and eventually reached a point where continuing no longer felt healthy. Emotional exhaustion, mental burnout. Many individuals who cut everyone off are those who have given too much emotionally. Over time, they become mentally and emotionally depleted. Their nervous system enters a defensive mode where withdrawing from social interaction feels like the only way to regain peace and stability. They are not antisocial, they are overstimulated and overwhelmed. Attachment styles formed in childhood. The video explains that people who experience emotional neglect, instability, or rejection in childhood often develop an avoidant attachment style in adulthood. They are learned early on that relying on others feels unsafe, so independence becomes their coping mechanism. As adults, this can manifest as discomfort with emotional dependence, fear of vulnerability, a tendency to withdraw rather than confront. Mental cost benefits analysis. After repeated experiences of giving more than receiving, the brain unconsciously evaluates relationships as emotionally expensive. At some point, distancing feels more logical than continuing to invest energy that is never returned. Cutting off becomes a productive decision, not an impulsive one. Healthy attachment versus isolation. The video draws a clear distinction between healthy attachment, which brings calm, clarity, and emotional relief, isolation, which is driven by fear, loneliness, and unresolved pain. Many people who cut off others experience relief and inner peace, which indicates boundary setting rather than emotional collapse. Indifference replacing anger. After years of disappointment, people often stop feeling anger altogether. They no longer argue, explain, or seek validation. Instead, emotional numbness or indifference appears not because they stopped caring, but because they are emotionally exhausted. Indifference is described as the final stage after prolonged emotional strain. Reduced concern for others' opinions. People who distance themselves tend to stop caring about external judgment. They prioritize internal peace over social approval, which reflects greater self-awareness and emotional maturity. They no longer feel the need to justify their choices to everyone. Rediscovering personal identity. The video highlights that constantly adapting to others' expectations can blur one's identity. By stepping away from draining relationships, individuals finally have space to reconnect with their true values, redefine who they are, stop performing roles for others. Cutting off becomes a step towards self-discovery. Consequences and social impact. Changes in behavior toward others. After distancing themselves, people often stop explaining themselves, stop chasing connection, become more selective with relationships. They choose quality over quantity and value emotional reciprocity. Why others misinterpret this behavior. From the outside, this behavior may appear cold, selfish, arrogant. However, the video explains that such judgments usually come from people who benefited from the individual's emotional availability. The withdrawal disrupts the old dynamic, which is why it is often misunderstood. Closing message. If cutting off others brings you peace, clarity, and emotional stability, it is not cruelty. It is self-respect and emotional growth.